One of the reasons why not-for-profit organisations don't really last all that long is that they're not run like businesses, and few have got the courage to be run like a business. But Niel Robinson dared to change the way they work. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight I'm joined by Niel Robinson to find out how Relate Bracelets became such a success, because you have seen extraordinary growth. 12, 18 months ago, you've grown exponentially over that period, Niel.
We have, Bruce. We've grown by about 70% over the last 12 months, and our growth path this year is about 50% on top of that. So, as you can imagine, quite a steep growth path. But, it's about proper strategies, it's about proper business ethics, it's about proper, business processes and protocols. And, I don't believe that NGOs in their current format are properly positioned. I know it's a bold statement, but I think if you look at how the NGOs are structured, and there's some wonderful organizations out there, the fact that you are reliant upon either corporate South Africa or an angel donor, that could go away very quickly. So what we've tried to do is really engage the end consumer and say, how can you get involved as an ordinary everyday South African in making a difference? So the bracelet is quite a simple mechanism to do that, and we've been fortunate that we have grown so well over the last couple of years.
What is your background? I mean, do you have a deep business background? Do you have business running through your blood and you've turned that to doing good?
I've done fags, booze and pharmaceuticals, so I think it's probably my penance for the last 20-odd years.
Yeah.
In that order. So fags first. So I worked on BAT business for quite a long time. And then booze, SAB Miller, Distell, Diageo, Brandhouse, and then J&J and Pfizer. So, yep, I've got some business sort of blood running through my veins. And I think if you don't look at it as a business and you look at it as a begging bowl handout scenario, for me it's not sustainable in the long term.
What's the genesis then of Relate Bracelets? Because we see these things all over the place, and frankly, until this point, not known very much about them.
So Relate was started by Lauren Gillis in 2008. We became a trust in 2010. And Lauren started the business with the view to trying to change the position between the haves and the have-nots in this country. We know it's a great divide. We know we face many challenges in this country. And Lauren wanted to bring a simple mechanism to try and facilitate that process. And the bracelet was one of the obvious options. And having looked at what Lance Armstrong did in the late sort of 90s and 2000s. Obviously, he's not a great brand now, but in those days he sold over 70 million of these Livestrong bracelets around the world. And she thought, what if this could be made in South Africa? What if it could be made by underprivileged people who don't have jobs? And literally she woke up one night in the middle of the night and with a screaming sort of thing in her head saying, Nando's, Nando's. And she went to her computer, typed in Nando's, and literally that was where Relate was born. She went to them with an idea, and Robbie Brose, and being the entrepreneur that he is, said, cool, he has an order for 6,000. And she kind of thought, oh, wow, now what? And from there it started. Yeah. That was the genesis of it.
And so, I mean, since those early days at Nando's and 7 years later, the Relate Bracelets, it would seem, for every good cause in the country, everything from rhinos to everything else.
We do, and we've probably supported about 70 causes close to date, from rhino to conservation projects, water, AIDS, malaria. Nando's has always been a big supporter of malaria, to corporates who actually have their own projects, like, for instance, Clicks run their own Mothers to Mothers project. Woolworths have got a few of their own projects that they run. So very, very widespread, but it covers pretty much health, conservation, education, children's and women's empowerment. So pretty much the full spectrum. And I must say that some of the guys that work in charity and NGO do an absolutely remarkable job with little funding. Yeah. So every check that we give over to them every single month is manna from heaven to a certain extent.
Now, when you talk about taking these Relate Bracelets and running it more as a business, here you are offering something that has a value. It shows the integrity or the intent of the person who buys the bracelet. They make a donation in return for that bracelet. That money then is applied to the charitable organizations. Just take me through the business process involved in that.
Sure. So our business process is a very simple one, but I believe quite a powerful one. So it's a third model. So a third goes to our costs. So we've got obviously running costs, manufacturing costs, materials costs, and the small salaries we earn. The second bit is the donation itself to the charity. So a third goes to Rhino or Elephant or Cancer or whatever. And then the last third is quite an exciting part, and a lot of people don't know about this. And that is the Gorgors obviously earn money from the bracelets and how they make them. Part of that also goes to Skills Development Fund, which empowers our young adults who, what we call close and pack and ship our bracelets. They do skills courses while they work for us. So, education in this country, we know it's a challenge, so we're trying to do our bit there. And then the last bit of that last third goes to enterprise development. So we embark in donating funds to young black businesses. We've just donated 2 vehicles worth just over R1 million to 2 young sort of fledgling businesses in Cape Town. And we're trying to build our lot in investing in the country that way. So it's a very open, transparent model. We kind of run like a public organization. Our books are open and free for everyone to see. And I must just point out that we have a little R in our bracelet, and that's the mark of our, let's call it our SABS stamp of approval in the charity field. There are other bracelets out there, but if you guys can please look for the R, that's the mark of 100% not-for-profit and obviously doing good.
I suppose mimicry is a great flattery in this particular case, but it doesn't help the charitable organisations. Are there lots of copycats?
If they are doing some good, I guess, but a lot of people don't get the fact that, when you claim to give us away a certain percentage of your profits, it could be anything. And a lot of people get hoodwinked. There's a lot of skepticism and mistrust in this particular field or category. And I think it's certain individuals and businesses out there which give it that bad name. And I think people must just look at what they buy, where they buy, and how they buy. And you've got to have that, let's call it that, we're trying to build our brand into a credible, integral part of South Africa. And I think if you start looking for, trusted brands out there, hopefully the R or Relate will become one in many years to come. But I think you've just got to look out as South Africans as to what you're buying and kind of where it comes from.
You guys have worked with 70 causes. You've no doubt made hundreds of thousands of Relate bracelets. How much money comes in through the front door every single year?
So Bruce, we've raised just close to 30 million in just over 5 years. And we've sold about, I think it's just on 1.9 million bracelets to date. As I said, our target for this year is 720,000 for the year, which means we're able to give away R1 million a month. And my ultimate goal is to try and, if every employed tax-paying South African can just buy 1 R bracelet every year, we can raise R250 million. I know it sounds incredible and quite ridiculous. A little bracelet like that can do so much good, but that's the nub of it. Lots of small makes big impact. And that's the way we look at it.
What is the uptake? Nando's clearly has been a great supporter of yours and continues to be a great supporter. But when you go to corporate South Africa and you say, please, will you put these at the till points? Are they receptive?
They are. Listen, they sell. There's no doubt about it. And the likes of, Woolworths, who've got a philosophy of good business journeys and bringing goods to South Africa through their supply chain. We work a lot with them. They're a big partner of ours. They get it. They understand the model, and we partner very well. Clicks, the Fashini Group are others. Protea Hotels have supported us fantastically. And I think you've got to have let's call it an aligned business strategy with regards to doing good in this country. Doing good is good for business, as we all know. So a lot of those brands get it, and they support us month in, month out. Different campaigns are run throughout the year for different organisations, but on the whole, we've got fantastic support, and we hope it goes from strength to strength over the years.
Who defines the artistic merit of the bracelets? You've got a box full in the desk in front of you there. All of these things are different. They look a bit different. They are there for different causes. Who defines the artistic integrity when it comes to these things?
Yeah, so pretty much we work with the corporate partner or the charity or the retailer. So this is the latest Woolworths one, Pharrell, which is in Woolworths now. So Woolworths will work with us on the design. This is a Spur one, which again, Spur put this together for their foundation for a campaign around Mandela Day. But I think it's a combination. We do a lot of the design, but it's a collaboration between the corporates, the agencies, if we're dealing with marketing departments or CSI departments. It's a big collaboration. So like anything in life, you run a project, there are many different stakeholders, and I suppose we all get involved, and hopefully it doesn't come out a bit of a dog's breakfast. But most of the CIs, the brand integrities, are held by, I suppose, the marketing guys, the marketing directors. We do have a say in terms of what we say on the cards, the insert cards and the packaging. But on the whole, it's normally not a big deal. There's not a lot of fists and arguments about the design.
Well, that's a good thing, because I mean, this is all for a good cause, and ultimately you can have a couple of disagreements. Is it all about bracelets into the future? If you're thinking 3 steps ahead, do you not get sort of donor fatigue creeping in as all charitable organizations and trusts come up against at some point, where at some point people go, you know what, I've got 30 blooming bracelets at home, I've bought, 1 a quarter for the last 5 years, it's enough already?
I get asked the question every single day. And I think, yes, there could be fatigue come a time, but this is more than a bracelet. It's just a tool. If your mom or a family member's passed away from AIDS or cancer, or you feel absolutely passionate about rhinos or leopards or the frog, this is about a wearable tattoo. And yes, there could be other manifestations of it, but a bracelet just serves our purpose at the moment. Yes, we are thinking ahead in terms of future, but we're also looking at other markets as opposed to products. So, new product development is a thought process which we're currently embarking upon, but I think more so it's about looking at other markets, the UK, the US, Australia. We're in a couple of the markets already, but it's an ever-evolving process, and I think if you get an opportunity, you're not going to waste it. So if there's an opportunity to try and morph into another product of sort, we would look at that. But at the moment, Bruce, no. We've literally scratched the surface, I believe. South Africans are massively philanthropic people. If they get the story right, if they understand what you're doing and what you're putting the money towards, I think there is definitely an appetite there, and we try to engage and trade off that. The fact that the goodwill and the good it's doing in the society is massive. And people often forget the jobs that it creates every single day. We support 350 gorgles in the townships every single day. And for them, it's an absolute godsend. It changes their perspectives every month. I mean, sometimes you get close to not quite doubling their pension, but certainly it puts a lot of extra bread on the table, and it helps with their kids, some of them looking after up to 7 or 8 AIDS orphan grandchildren. So the money goes to very good causes. So bracelet, yes, maybe gets old in a couple of years, but we'll sort of run this road as long as we can.
Niel Robinson, thank you so much, taking the charity model and turning it on its head and saying philanthropy can be a business, and if you run it like a business, not only is it sustainable, but it also raises lots of money, and that money goes to the good causes that you support when you buy a Relate bracelet. It's the one with the R on it. We've been told now it's copyrighted. Chief Executive of Relate Bracelets, Niel Robinson, on the line to us from Cape Town this evening. Thank you so much for watching. There'll be more Moneymakers tomorrow, doing good things and even better things. Till then, good night and goodbye.